So lately I've been really intrigued with the idea of paring down my camera kit and trying to do more with less. Less big lenses, less rigging, less speed boosters and V-mount batteries. So after I made this video where I was talking about how I switched over to the Panasonic GH4, a lot of people commented and said that I should try another camera that I might like even more. And that camera was this little guy. This is the Panasonic G85. So if you've been watching my channel for a while, you'll know that I really liked the predecessor to this camera, which was the Panasonic G6. That was actually 2 generations before this camera. And I've also always recommended the Panasonic G7 to people who are looking to get their first camera. So I thought, why not give the Panasonic G85 a go? Now again, there are a boatload of videos on the Panasonic G85, so this isn't gonna be a spec or feature breakdown video. Instead, I wanted to point out the most notable things about this little camera, good and bad. So first let's talk about size and ergonomics. The size of this little G85 is actually great. It's small enough to fit into any small day pack or sling bag. Though this camera is smaller than my Panasonic GH4, the grip still feels really nice, and it's actually, I feel like it's almost a little bit deeper than the GH4's grip, which I really like. It's got the flip out screen, which every YouTuber needs, and rigging this camera is also really easy, but I'm gonna save that for another video. Now, I've seen a lot of amazing stuff come out of the Panasonic G7 over the years, so I wasn't expecting any less when it came to the Panasonic G85. So this camera has a super sharp image and plenty of dynamic range to work with the Cine D profile, which is included in this camera. There's 1080p 60, which is plenty slow motion for me, and one thing that I've noticed about this little G85 is that it actually has a cleaner image in high ISOs than my GH4 does. My only gripe as far as like performance and features is that there is no 24p in 1080, but that isn't the biggest issue because I have started shooting all of my videos in 4K. So now let's talk audio. This camera does have a mic jack, unlike its little brother, the GX85, so I would say that this actually makes it more of a video camera, but it does not have a headphone jack, so you are limited to monitoring your audio with the audio meters, which it does have audio meters when you're recording video, so you can at least visually see if there's an audio signal coming into your camera. One thing I don't really like about the mic jack is that it's placed in a certain spot that when you try to orient the flip screen, it doesn't let you turn the flip screen all the way. You kind of have to like do a little shuffle around the mic jack. Now let's talk about IBIS. Yes, this little camera has in-body image stabilization. Now with my GH3 and my GH4, those cameras didn't have any internal stabilizers, so I had to come up with a lot of tricks and techniques to get smooth handheld footage when I use those cameras. But with this camera, I don't have to worry about it so much because it gets really, really nice floaty images because it has in-body image stabilization. And this kind of goes into what I was talking about when I said I was trying to like pare down my video kit. With a lot of cinema cameras, you'll see cinematographers having them rigged up and then having to have the easy rig and all that kind of stuff, which obviously you need for those big cameras, but it's so freeing to just use a camera like this, not need basically any rigging to get it to look really good and still get great images out of it without having to rig it out and use a gimbal or whatever. You can shoot amazing handheld footage with this little camera. It's almost come to a point now that I'm so used to having internal image stabilizers in my cameras that I really don't think I can go back to cameras without them. Okay, so this is a quick vlog test for you. I don't really vlog that often, but this is the G85, the DJI 15mm f1.7. We got face and eye detect autofocus right now. Yeah, this is what it would look like to vlog with. This is in 4K, so it's gonna have that extra crop, but I am getting a pretty stable shot, and I do have it on a Gorilla Pod to help extend it out a little bit more. I would definitely say look into a wider lens than this 15mm. Now let's talk about the crop factor. And this is probably one of the biggest downsides about this camera. Now with the more consumer end cameras by Panasonic, they don't give you a full 2x crop when you're shooting in 4K. It actually crops into the image when you shoot 4K, and when you're using the internal image stabilization, it crops in even more. So instead of having a 2x crop like you would with a GH5 or a G9, with these little cameras, it's more like a 2.2x crop, I believe. And so all of your wide lenses are going to be a little bit less wide. If you shoot in 1080p, you'll get the full width of the sensor, but when you shoot in 4K, there is an additional crop. And another kind of sucky thing is that when you plug in to the HDMI and use a monitor, it crops in even more. And it's not just cropped in on the HDMI monitor, it's actually, when you record, it records at that crop factor too. So you lose even more width when you're using an external monitor, which I don't understand like the technical reasons about why that's happening, but that does kind of suck. And so when using this camera, I've resorted to using the Field Monitor app, which is an app kind of like the Panasonic app, but it actually gives you a full screen view of what your camera is seeing, and you can control your camera with that app. So I use that with my iPad whenever I'm doing sit down talking head videos like this. But at the end of the day, even with the 2.2x crop on this little G85, it's still less of a crop than something like the original Blackmagic Pocket. So I'm okay with it. So I've been debating whether or not I should keep my GH4 or switch over to this G85. The GH4 is a better camera technically, but this little camera, I feel like, is just more of an ease of use camera. This, I think I can go out, grab footage, shoot stuff a lot easier than I can with the GH4 because I don't have to worry too much about using image stabilized lenses, or I can shoot in slightly lower light with this G85 than I can with the GH4. So it's just more of a convenience thing. This is a lot smaller. And I kind of feel like if you were looking into like the G7 as your first camera, but you had a little bit of extra money, you might want to look into the G85. I actually picked this one up for about $420. It's a great deal. And if you are just getting into the Micro Four Thirds system and you want a camera with image stabilization and a flip out screen and a mic jack, this is probably the camera for you. And this is going to, get you through most of what you need to shoot. Anyways, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun shooting it. If you did, it'd be awesome if you hit the like button, and be sure to subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my content. If you'd like to check out more of my videos, you can click on either side of my face. Once again, thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Later.